Can you hear?
So from now with
No.
one or
We cannot hear video,
Okay, just give us a minute.
but I think it's fine if the video doesn't provide any audio, because we try to understand about the visuality and about the plot of the story of
The
the film.
audio setting. Wait, I just go to the audio setting. Just give me a minute.
Okay, it's fine if you can do it.
Try now. It is like beautiful when you hear the sound. Okay, we try now, yeah? Can you hear the sound now?
Still no for me.
Yeah. It's still mute.
Do you need the sound or no? I mean,
Not.
if you feel you don't need to share the sound with the students, then you just continue without the sound. But if you feel the students should listen to the audio as well with the pictures, so it means you have to share with the sound.
Okay,
Or,
first, sorry. I think it's okay without sound because we can follow the story. And the second option, could you please, Madam Anne, give the link of the video, so later in our class we can play it in our class. Okay? Yes. Thank you.
Can you hear? No, Still cannot, yeah?
Okay, we are still.
Cannot. Okay, never mind.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay, I will share the link later. You can see the screen right now. You can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Hi, Madam Anne. Sorry,
Yeah.
just a suggestion. If you have the link, maybe you can just share the
okay.
link.
Okay, yeah. Can I share with you?
Yeah, I think that would be better, I guess.
Just give me a few minutes. The link is there.
Yes, we can find the link. Thank you.
Yeah,
You can continue the presentation.
We can actually have an interactive lesson in the class or discussion. Yeah, well, here we gather people may be well educated, smart and intelligent, but without simple common sense, we are useless and worthless. So it is a crisp and good short clip, and presence of mind matters a lot. When we create a classroom that is less teacher-driven, our approach becomes more strategic and proactive. If we think about partially removing ourselves as a classroom focal point, that does not mean we erase ourselves from the equation. Rather, we develop the dexterity to meet a number of ever-shifting demands with students who are intentionally prepared to meet new challenges. Now, this idea probably sounds desirable in theory, but unattainable in practice, particularly given the very real and pressing needs students project on a constant basis. Now, to further explore what it looks like to have a learning environment that partially transcends a teacher, let us first compare a static teacher-directed classroom model to a student-centered dynamic one. Now, students don't always speak up in class unless they know the right answer. Now, this strategy encourages them to talk as a way to create knowledge. Here, I discuss the topic of metacognitive talk. When metacognitive talk is employed as an instructional tool, students learn to use discussion as a way to build knowledge instead of just participating to display what they already know. Now, thought-provoking commercials, just like this, can be used as an important tool in a literature classroom. Now, students can brainstorm ideas based on the commercial, make the inferences, make conclusion, or formulate life lessons. Okay, let's watch this ad and ponder what it teaches us. Now, although this is a insurance commercial, we can take literature classes to a different level in the class. We can have fruitful discussions. We can make students brainstorm. What do they think? Or how do they perceive? Yeah. So, well, I will look at this commercial this way. Giving education is the best thing one can do for the poor. And only education can bring millions out of poverty. Now, teachers can also use the TikTok app to create a short videos on specific objects that students can watch. This is great for explaining lesson concepts. Not only does it mean a short and to the point video, but one that can be watched multiple times so students are able to revisit the guidance when working on the task. Now, TikTok education teaches all of us a lesson. Learning should be fun. So simple and useful educational content should be easy to access. Now, TikTok decided to make this happen in May 2020 as the platform announced its initiative, Learn on TikTok. This is after recognizing a vast demand for educational content among young people on TikTok. Now, TikTok also keeps classes engaged and connected. By adapting to the technology, students love to use TikTok in their free time, and teachers find their engagement levels with work higher. Now, let's watch teacher Nazira Rosli in action.
Miss N, I'm sorry to say the video doesn't work. It's not playing.
I will try another way. Just 1 minute. Can you hear now? Can you hear now? Did you hear just now?
It's still mute.
You cannot. Then we go into the test. Just 1 minute. Can you hear now? Can you hear now?
It is still mute.
So,
I do not know why, but maybe you can skip this part to the best part of your presentation.
okay. I will just show without, I mean, like in a sense, it will be without. She's actually showing how to do a fish head tutorial. I mean, it's a fish head. So basically, it's a tutorial. You can follow the TikTok by, in order for you to do the fish head, you actually follow the tutorial by teacher Nazira.
Oh, that's amazing. I thought it's fish, but it becomes a head.
It's a fish head tutorial. Let's see whether you can hear this. I just don't understand why. Sounds the same. The PowerPoint pointer. Yes, 1 minute, 1 minute. So this is another TikTok app in a sense that she's giving a classkick.com. This, she will actually list out all the apps for teachers and students to explore. So this is also good for students actually, because they can use this app to make their projects more interesting, or even their presentations more interesting. I'll go on to the next slide. Okay. Now, eye-catching and inspirational posters come advertisements, or even a billboard is a must when you're trying to capture even the slightest sliver of attention. During today's digital 140 characters of less attention span world. In and out of school, students are constantly bombarded by media, messages, and commercial influences. So teachers can use this media literacy to help them deal with those messages in an intelligent and discriminating ways. Okay, let me actually give you some insight about some very beautiful or very creative and interesting, posters, yeah? Okay. Play with the unexpected. Here we see creative directors, Sergio Valente and Rodolfo Sampaio of DDB Brazil. They created a cool campaign for Zoo Safari with a clever take on the tagline, blend in. Other human or animal image mashups in this series that might cause you to do a double take include a man morphing into a gorilla and a man blending seamlessly with a tiger. Okay. The next, attack the enemy. Maybe we can come up with just the title, and students can actually come up with the app, or even can come up with the image, or probably we can come up with the image and students can come up with the tagline. Yeah. Okay. Rather than showing how, and look at how cleverly it has been put here, rather than showing how white Colgate can make their teeth, Young and Ruby Camp featured the problem itself rather than the solution, replacing teeth with their enemies, including teeth-staining substances like cigarettes, coffee beans, and tea bags, grabs your attention in an entirely different way. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here, we see how you can humanize an object. Now, this eye-catching print advertisements from MNC Saatchi Melbourne for Australia Post. It reminds people how it feels to receive a letter from a loved one. Now, hardly we find letters by post these days. Okay, what we get are just emails, and probably someone will tweet. But imagine how you can humanize an object and how creatively this person or this postal department has come up with this kind of ad. Again, here we have be creatively literal. Now, the give a hand, we have give a hand for the wildlife campaign for the World Wildlife Federation has striking pointed imagery painted on an actual hand. We can also utilize graphic media for impactful discussions to give students an anchor. Now, we guide students through a description or discussion of the topics. We can rerun the media as a case study and get students to analyze what they see using the theories and concepts just discussed. Now, graphic medias aid students establish, explain, connect, and associate ideas and concepts to make the process of learning more interesting, enjoyable, and effective. Now, this slide shows the graphic image of eco and ego. Now, ego versus eco. The ego system conceptualizes man and indeed commonly meant as being at the top of the pyramid and in a more important position than all other creatures and nature itself. Whereas the ecosystem conceptualizes mankind as an equal component in a more reciprocal and symbiotic relationship with the rest of nature. Now, ego means to rule over some people or someone. Ego means to rule over others, and the world can look like a dirty planet that once was beautiful. Now, if it was like this, where are we going to live? Eco means to be equal with others, respect, care, and be kind, and not to rule over others. And the world and animal, also us, we have the right to help, but not to punish harshly. We can throw a question to our students. Would they want to have ego or be eco? So they can brainstorm and a fruitful discussion can also take place. Now, one of the most impactful critical thinking literature lessons is conducting a gallery walk. Now, during a gallery walk, students explore multiple texts or images that are placed around the room. You can use this strategy when you want to have students share their work with peers, examine multiple historical documents, or respond to a collection of quotations. And in addition to addressing a variety of cognitive skills involving analysis, evaluation, and synthesis, gallery walk has the additional advantage of promoting cooperation, listening skills, and team building. Here, the gallery walk was used to introduce a concept and elaborate the lit circle or the literary circle. I'm glad to have this opportunity to be part of the gallery walk initiated by Dr. Shamini with her 2019 TESOL batch. Students prepared all the materials and the PowerPoint slides to facilitate the learning process with Dr. Shamini's guidance to enliven the class discussions. Now, 5 specific suggestions were employed for the gallery walk in this classroom. Question, answer, brainstorm. Students individually make their way around the room and compose answers to questions displayed directly on the poster or with the sticky notes. We also had chalkboard and station-to-station, computer tour, and project share. Now, I find literature circles very engaging, meaningful, and lead students to deeper levels of understanding. Implementing literature circles effectively can lead to powerful learning experiences for our students. Now, literature circles are successful tools because they are such a social experience for our students. We need to harness that energy by teaching them and modeling for them how to use their skills for learning. Now, the concept of lit circle comes in 6 pointers. You have connector, literary illuminator, vocab enricher, summarizer, illustrator, and strong lines. Now, all these pointers will give a complete insight of the literary text, and the students will have a better understanding when it comes to analyzing it. Now, this group used the Mango Season by Amulya Maladi as the reference text and dealt with it extensively. Now, the first pointer discussed was connector. Making connections. Can you connect with what you are reading? Can you imagine yourself in it? Does it remind you of things from your life? Does the text remind you of a similar story or news? Now, the process of reading is when a person reads the text and their inner voice make connections between the words and their life and prior knowledge. The more closely we connect to the text, the higher the level of comprehension. Okay, we go on to slide 30. Now, here we see the students connecting the text to the Bollywood stars who eloped and married against their parents' wish. Example, you have Shashi Kapoor and Jennifer Kandel. Although Jennifer's father disapproved of their relationship, they got married. Likewise, we have Bhagyashri Patwadam and Himalaya Dasani, who eloped and married, although Bhagya's father didn't approve of their relationship. Okay. The second pointer in the lead circle is summarizer. Now, summarizing teaches students how to discern the most important text, important ideas in a text, to condense a text to its main points, how to ignore irrelevant information, and how to integrate the central ideas in a meaningful way. Now, teaching students to summarize improves their memory for what is read. So summarization strategies actually can be used in almost every content area. Now, here we see the mango season capturing the predicament of non-resident Indians who are torn between the two cultures of their native and adopted countries. Now, the mango season is about Priya, a young woman visiting a hometown in India after being in the United States for 7 years. Now a professional in Silicon Valley and living in with an American guy who is a husband candidate. But that, in the minds of a deeply conservative traditional parents, was a detour to a destiny of arranged marriage, an alliance which they would orchestra by picking suitable families and then allowing their daughter to choose one of the prospective candidates. Now, it is in her hands now to pick the courage and tell her family the truth. Okay, the next pointer will be literary illuminator. Now, students looked into two elements here to make the literary circle more concrete. They had symbolism. The mango season is synonym to the monsoons and the wedding season in India. They are symbolic of passion, heat, emotion, and happiness. We also have another concrete literary illuminator, the metaphor, and memories associated with the distinct smell trickled in like a slow stream flowing over gently weathered stone. Now, literature circles are one of the best way to engage students in reading and careful analyzing of their text. Now, the fourth pointer in the lead circle is strong lines. Now, strong lines speak volumes. They give the and complement the theme as well. The ability to dissect and read between the lines requires experience with the author, a great ear for tone, and an active imagination. Here are examples of strong lines used in the text chosen. Happiness was a concept, a feeling. I'm scared that I'll lose them if I tell them, and I'm scared I'll lose me if I don't. Sometimes it was better to face the demons than ignore them. This is my country. I told myself firmly, and I love my country. I'm going to change my life, Priya. I'm going to change it. I'm not just going to sit down and let them do what they want. I'm going to decide what I want to do. Now, here I will put in a nutshell that a good reader can also be a good detective. There's no perfect method to teach how to read between the lines, but I do know that literature that makes you dive down to find the real pearls is much more interesting than the easy stuff. All readers of great fiction need to be good detectives as well. Now I'm going to bring you to the next pointer, vocabulary enricher. Now this role gets the students to locate, highlight, and then define unfamiliar vocabulary. They can also select key vocabulary words that reflect important concepts or demonstrate an interesting form of word choice. Students use a definition for the word and then share the vocabulary with the literature group. Having a dictionary embedded directly within the student's text makes this role a task every student can seamlessly perform while reading. During literature circle discussions, students need to spend time discussing the definitions present. The presentation of a word does not need to be solely in the form of text. Some apps offer innovative ways to visually convey the meaning of a word. Students come to a consent. What is the best definition and share? Let's look at slides 42 and 43. You have anachronistic, belonging or appropriate to an earlier period, especially so as to seem conspicuously old-fashioned. We have avial, an Indian dish with origins in the Kerala region. Curse, persuade an unwilling person to do something by using force or threats. You have ensnare, catch in or as in a trap, or massacre and indiscriminate and brutal slaughter of many people. Now, I believe in helping spur meaningful discussions pertaining to a literature text in a lead circle. And in this context, scaffolding the information with very specific expectations is needed. The literary theory abiding the text is appropriate in directing the discussion. Here, the students use the feminism theory in Mango Season by Amulya Maladi. Themes that support feminism in the Mango Season is highlighted in this lead circle. Women's subordination. Priya is expected to marry the boy whom her parents chose in an Indian family setting. We have women oppression. Priya and Somya taste the impact of oppression towards Indian women due to male domination. Since the expectations are student created, they have more ownership and drive to follow through on them. Students learn from each other and are pushed to deeper level of understanding. My colleagues and I enjoy seeing our students reach new levels of understanding and fully engage in their literary texts. Here, students discuss about emancipation, where the women characters are educated but suffered due to the patriarchy and culture of Indian society. It affects the life of women, their identity and freedom. And when it comes to empowerment, they highlighted how the main character, Priya, holds on to her choice and without any oscillation, she moves towards it. Now, lead circle involves character analyzing, and characters are the heart of the literary text. The 5 methods are physical description, action, inner thoughts, reactions, and speech. While reading a novel, I often ask students to pick a character to analyze and really explore as we read. Using the acronyms STEAL, STEAL, students look for what the character says, S for says, what they think, T for think, their effect, E for effect on others, their actions, A for actions, and their looks, L for looks. It's an easy way to keep track of the ways we learn about characters. Here, students looked at the voiced characters and their attitudes to justify the theme of the literary text. I would like to share one character analysis activity which I have done with my students. Old vintage cartoon clips can be very fun too. Check out Tom and Jerry and get students compare and contrast the two characters. What are their defining characteristics? How do they learn about each, or what do they learn about each character? Or even brainstorm as a class the character traits of the cast of Sesame Street. What words would they use to describe Oscar the Grouch, Cookie Monster, Big Bird? How are these characters developed? Or you could use the characters from The Simpsons. Finally, let's look at the impact of visual literature and critical thinking in teaching and learning. First, students skilled in visual literacy are able to create meaning from images, which in turn improves their writing proficiency and critical thinking skills. By integrating visual literacy into our classrooms, we can help students learn to collaborate and to discuss a wide range of ideas while expressing their own. Second, visual learning also helps students to develop visual thinking, which is a learning style whereby the learners actually comes better to understand and retain information by associating ideas, words, and concepts with images. Third, visual literacy also offers a deeper connection with all kinds of texts and encourages analytical interpretations of what is represented and their hidden meanings. It is a skill that eliminates barriers to learning. See how non-verbal speakers rely on images to convey their thoughts. and communicate with images. Fourth, visual literacy encourages an appreciation and comprehension of visual communication. A lack of awareness of visual literacy affects the ability to be able to communicate effectively. By understanding the basic principles of visual literacy, people can produce images that communicate in a more efficient way. By employing literature circles in our classrooms, we create a world of difference in the teaching and learning of literature. According to Harvey Daniels, author of Literature Circles, Voice and Choice in the Student-Centered Classroom, literature circles are small, temporary discussion groups of students who have chosen to read the same work of literature in which each member agrees to take specific responsibilities during discussion sessions, according to Schlicknow in 2004. So each student brings a different dynamic to the group, which only enhances the other students' learning by forcing them to interpret a text from their peers, varying points of view. This sharing of beliefs based on students' diverse backgrounds can be likened to traveling around the world and experiencing a wealth of different countries, customs, and ways of life. When one travels, he or she is exposed to an entirely new way of life, a life in which he or she does not necessarily fit in. I have come to the end of my presentation. Thank you, Universitas PGRI, Buana, Surabaya, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, IPB Campus Bahasa Antarabangsa, for having faith in me. Thank you, Class D of TESOL 2019 batch, taught by Dr. Shamini. Thank you to all my colleagues and friends for making this possible. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Miss Anne. That's a very wonderful and incredible explanation. It enlightens us with your explanation. I'm pretty sure that there are many people here wonders to ask something and have some kind of good discussion with you. I cannot make a simple conclusion with your long and wide and well-established explanation, but I remember very simple words from Horace that you quote: "A picture is a poem without words." That's very wonderful. That's very beautiful. And now it's time for us to have a discussion. Maybe participants here have some kind of questions to Miss Anne, please. Anyone wants to ask something? Maybe Mbak Ica or Mas Nasar?
I have a question, may I?
Yeah,
Okay.
So first of all, my name is Pandu Wicaksono, and thank you for the very insightful presentation. From this presentation, I get that visual literature is a very relevant skills in our current culture and situation in general, especially with the prevalence of social media and internet contents in general. And my question is, if we are lazy to consume the more traditional form of literary works like novel and poem, can we substitute it with these newer literacy works such as comic books or Instagram quotes and such? Can stuff like that help increase our literacy in general?
I would say, thank you for the question. I would say, no, of course, I'm not saying that you can substitute any literary text for comic books, because there are two different genres, I would say. Now, as much as I learn something from a comic strip, I also learn a world of knowledge. There's a world, there's a big thing out there when it comes to literary texts. I would say that. But substituting is a very big word, I would say. You can actually incorporate both in your life, even in a literature classroom. Anything you want to add, Prof?
Okay, Mas Pandu, do you get the point?
Yes, yes. So it's more not about substitution, but we can also use those comic books in addition to the more traditional literary works to improve our literacy. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right.
Thank
It's only
you.
F because it goes hand in hand. I will say literary text actually gives you an ocean of knowledge, a lot of things that you actually gather from there. Now, we are not only going through like, we are not talking only about themes and characters and that and this. Even a history can be set. A literary text can be also set upon a background, a historical background, I would say. So a novel is so much, and you can't fit in like TikTok, for example. When it comes to all these TikTok apps and all that, you can take one part of the literary text and make a TikTok out of it, but you can't substitute all together. It's nice to see both hand in hand. It will be nice, just like a pair, right?
Yes, thank you for your explanation, Miss N. Maybe Mas Pandu and friends here have some kind of anxiety because if we are so lazy to read and there is pictures, visuality, and how can we be more literate? Maybe that's just kind of anxious problem with us. Okay, maybe the next question, if there is, please. Okay, anyone? Questions,
I
please?
want to ask, my name is Aisyah Maudi from
Okay.
8 class 2020.
Okay, Miss Aisha. Miss
Yeah.
Ika. Mhm.
So visual and text are different things. If read poetry textually, I can imagine it. While when I watch TV, poster or anything, I can't feel it. What do you think about that?
Now, you know that, thank you, Aisha, sorry. Okay, you know that there are many literary texts that have been made into movies, right? Now, you read the same, say for example, you're going to watch this Harry Potter, yeah, in the theater, and you read Harry Potter books. It's a true world. It's a different thing altogether. I would say, I mean, of course, as much as you would like to watch a movie or something in theater, even with that sound effect or whatever, but if you're an avid reader, there are things that you will miss out when you watch a movie. Even if you watch Harry Potter, you can somehow or other feel yourself so immersed in the story. There are a lot of things. If you actually get an avid reader to explain to you, he or she will tell you that reading a book is better than watching the movie. Not many will tell you otherwise. Because as I told you, you have to use all your 5 sensory organs. Even when it comes to reading, you're not just reading. You're just getting into the story. You should feel the story. All the sensory organs should come into play when you read a book. Only then you feel that, you just have to feel reading the book. Only then it is like you have done justice to the book. That is how I feel. Aisha, did I answer your question?
Yes, I think it's clear enough for the answer. That's very wonderful explanation. Okay, text and visuality. It's all about how we feel it. It is about how the visual can be the description in our mind and our feeling. Okay, maybe you just talked about how a novel or short story is transformed into movie. Can I say it is kind of ecranization? Ecranization.
Saying that lately many books are actually, there are many movies made out of books.
Yes. And the problems of ecranization, transforming a text into visuality or novel into films. There are many problems. For example, the novel is still better when it is visualized. The movie is not representing the whole meaning of the novel. I'm sorry
Yes,
if I'm asking something because I am the host, but I am triggered with your statements. If you please do
now,
consider it.
okay, you're talking about a movie. You're reading this, you're watching this movie for 3 hours. How can we substitute a 3-hour movie with, I'm just giving you a sample, okay, probably a 400-page book. And every day, now, when you read a book, I can read a book today. I can read the same page tomorrow, but it'll be a different level of understanding. If you notice, if you read the book again and again and again, you feel that you are somehow rather, your understanding of the storyline, the perception, and how the characters actually, how they are employed, in the storyline itself. It gives you a different meaning. I'm very sure the book cannot be substituted with just a 3-hour movie. I mean, of course, movies will come with all kind of fun effects. You have music, you have all this audio, you have songs, you have some fights and that and this. But somehow or other, it's a different level of understanding. I will look at it. Did
Okay.
I answer your question?
Yes, it explains something. Thank you for your explanation. We cannot represent the whole part of the novel, but we can represent the meaning. Maybe the point of view of this
Part of it. Yeah,
producer
you're right.
and the novel can be in the similar line. Okay, and maybe for the participants, you have another question for the participants. Okay, Olivia, you raise your hand. I can see your sign.
Yes, Olivia?
Yes, I would like to ask. My name is Olivia Natasha Putri. Thank you for the insightful presentation and thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask. I just want to ask a simple question here. If you have to compare between visual literature and textual literature, which one do you prefer to choose and why? Yeah, that's all my question. Thank you.
Talking about visual and textual. I will tell you visual. Because when it comes to visual, you can look at it from every angle. You'll have 101 perspectives. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't mean that we should discard textual, but visual will give you 101 interpretations. But when it comes to textual, of course, you can read it in many ways, but most of the time, your interpretation is somehow rather directed or directed by the person who has actually written that particular textual work. Did I answer your question, Olivia?
Yes. Olivia asked something more personal, maybe. Which
Like-
one do you prefer to choose, visual or textual? Maybe Miss N likes visuality because she likes to enjoy the world. She
yes,
likes to enjoy beach or mountain or anything. Okay. Anyone else?
That's like asking a small child, a 1-year-old kid,
Mm-mm.
you get a picture and you give a page full of written words. I'm sure the child will pick picture. Probably
Yes.
they are trained to, start from
Mm-mm.
young that way.
Yes, I see it. Maybe when we read something, the text, we need to interpret it. We need to imagine how it looks like.
Dissect,
So on.
yeah. Construe.
Okay. Presentation. Maybe there are other questions, or you don't have any questions. Oh yeah, Miss N, I need to remind you that we need to take a picture
Okay.
for our documentation of our activity today, because we cannot forget our moment that we have today, because we cannot go back to the past.
I promised
Okay.
to send you the links actually because it was not the audio. I wouldn't know how I'm just wondering what happened to the audio, but I promise I'll send you the links for all the YouTube video and the TikTok.
Yes, Miss N, it's fine. You don't have to worry about that. We are in visual literature, so we just want to follow the plot of the story that you give from the video. Without audio, we can interpret the story and the meaning of it. Okay, I think the participants do not have any question. I think your explanation is clear enough, so we do not have to get further discussion about it. It's all clear. Thank you, Mr. And I want to call Mr. Rahmat. Mr. Rahmat, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, always here for
Yeah,
you.
would you please to take a picture of us?
All right, yes, no worries. Everyone, dear students, could you please turn on your camera? Because now is the take picture session. Guys. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, yes.
Sorry, Miss Anne, could you please stop sharing first before Pak Ahmad
Yes,
taking
sorry.
pictures?
All right, good. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me count, yeah. How many slides here? So, okay, yes. Okay. Okay, can we start now? Okay. Putiki?
Rahman, you may start now. Please open your camera, students.
Yes. One. Wait a second. Wait a
Oh,
second.
I'm tired of smiling, Mr. Rahmat. I'm waiting. After you take the
Wait.
picture.
Wait a second. Yeah. Be patient. All right.
Like
Let
that.
me- Okay.
That's
Okay.
a
One.
visual. That's also a visual image, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes. One, two, three. Okay. Good. Next. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
just one.
Wait. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, Mr. Rahmat, I think it's enough. Don't
No,
take
no,
so
wait.
many pictures of us.
Okay. Yes. I think that's enough. Yes, Pak Wawan?
Yeah, I think I am finished as the host today.
Yes.
I hope we all have enlightened from the explanation, and it escalates us to our understanding about visual literature and also critical thinking from the perspective of Miss Anne. And thank you, Miss Anne. I have to take a break as a host, and I have to send this authority to Mr. Ahmad and Mr. K. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you
so
very
much.
much. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Wawan.
Wawan.
And of course, thank you so much, Madam Anne. It's really inspiring, yeah, knowledge from you, and we also be sure that it gives what is it more knowledge, of course, for our students, yeah, and will discuss, yeah, about the PowerPoint that you share us in our class, yeah. And then now is as part of our appreciation to Madam Anne, please accept the certificate, yeah, from us. So sorry, let me share screen first. Wait a second. There's nothing to show here. Or what happened? Yeah. Wait. Maybe.
It's still loading.
Oh, still loading. Yeah. Yes.
Have
Yes. Wait.
They're waiting for the visual image.
We need to visualize anything here.
Yes. Wait a second. I'm sorry. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, let me open it again. I'm sorry. Okay. Can you see
Thank
that,
you so much.
everyone?
Yes, I
Yeah.
can see that. I can see the
Okay.
visual image of the certificate.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe
Oh,
this is symbol of our relationship.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
okay. All right. Again, thank you so much. Yeah. And please give a big applause to Madam Anne. Okay. Thank you so much, and we can finish this guest lecture now. Yeah. We hope we can see you for the next program. Yeah. Madam Anne. Thank you.
Surely. Thank you so
And
much.
yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much. And have a nice day, everyone.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.